Hello, Tracey.
Oh, hi Neil. Sorry about that. I forgot to take my phone off silent.
Oh, that's all right, mate. No worries. I totally get that. I turn mine off every night.
I don't blame you. So, when I'm at work, because I do a lot of night shifts, and when I'm at work, I just have it on silent. And I got home, and I'm just pottering around, cleaning up, um, and I thought, oh, the phone. So,
That's all good. That's all
anyway,
good.
yeah,
You're all good to talk now?
yeah, I am. Yeah,
And you're okay with me recording this and using it on our YouTube channel as a
yeah.
interview? Yep.
Of course I am. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, let's hear it. Now, you're a shift worker, obviously, because you work in health.
I am, yes. So I'm a nurse, and so my experience happened. I think it was more like the end of 2013.
Okay.
Um, so like I was just going back on dates and that. And I'm thinking, no, would have been 13, not 14. And so I was driving home after a shift one night. So it was about 11 o'clock. My shift normally finishes about 10, quarter past 10, and I was just near the army barracks at Canungra and turning left to go down to where I was living near Sharp Park. And just to my right, as I turned the bend there, I sort of looked and I'm thinking, oh, okay. And I just thought, oh, a dog or something. And then I sort of thought, there's stripes on it. And all I focused on was the stripes. And I'm thinking, that's a Tassie tiger. And I'm thinking, no, they're extinct. I'm seeing things. So, um, but but yeah, I just focused on the stripes. The jaw was a bit wider, like at the back of the jaw was a bit wide, but it was just standing there. And I didn't know whether to stop because I'm thinking I've just seen things. And I thought, oh, I'm not stopping. So, but yeah, it was just standing on the side of the road, like on the grassy area.
Right. So,
But
as
it
you're
was,
turning left, was it, onto this road?
yes, as I was turning left, it was just on the right hand side, straight opposite the army barracks.
Excellent. Okay.
Mm, yeah.
Um,
So the next day, like I sort of stayed awake thinking, what could that have been? It can't be a Tasmanian tiger because they're just not there. And I was looking through other things it could have been, and there was nothing else that it could have been. So the next day I went to work and I spoke to one of the doctors who was a doctor at the army barracks. And I said, oh, you wouldn't believe it. I said, I'm sure I've seen a Tasmanian tiger. And he sort of stopped what he was doing and he said, are you serious? He said, a couple of years ago, I seen one too. And he said, and no one's ever believed me. And I said, I swear I did not have a drink last night or anything. So, and he said, no, I seen it as well. So that doctor has since died, worse luck. So,
had he seen it in the same general area? Did he mention where?
yeah, in that same area.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but there was a couple of girls that just laughed at me because a couple of the other nurses that said, oh, yeah, sure, you stopped at the pub on the way home, didn't you? And I said, no way, I do not drink drive. I've seen too much.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and the doctor, when he said it, they sort of looked at us as if to say, well, you've both gone mad. But, yeah, he was a doctor at the army barracks, and that's when he had seen it as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was amazing to have that other person to sort of vouch for me and realise that I was seeing things, but I still doubted myself for years.
Yeah, okay. And that's pretty typical when you see something that unusual. It doesn't
Yes, yeah,
really make sense if, the general consensus is the animal's been extinct on the mainland for thousands of years, yeah?
yeah. Has it really? But
Yeah, nah, it definitely hasn't. Do you remember noticing the colour of the animal at all?
It was a darker brown.
Okay.
Um, it it was a brownish colour. It was very hard to see at night, to be totally honest, the real colour, but
Sure.
I do remember the stripes.
Quite clearly, you could see them.
Quite clearly, yeah, very, very clearly. Yeah, like at first I thought, oh, maybe a dog, and I just looked and just kept looking, and I just focused on the stripes. I didn't focus on anything else, and I'm thinking, no, I'm seeing things.
So as you went past it, it stood there and just didn't move, or it took off?
No, it stood there and did not move.
Awesome. That's very good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
distance-wise from you to it, the closest you got to it wouldn't have been that far, I suppose.
No, it wasn't very far at all. They're very, like, just a normal country road, basically.
Yep.
So I was on the left-hand side of the road, and it was just off the right-hand side of the road, off to the right. So
it's interesting. There's a lot of unusual things seen in and around army training areas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's been reports. Do you remember that Bush Tucker guy, the major, on TV about 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a report of a very unusual lion-type animal in Kakadu once when they were up there doing stuff. And there was some other army instances of other unusual things. I think there was a report of a giant lizard once as well from an army base up near Townsville, I think it was. I can't remember, but all sorts of unusual things because they cover massive land areas. When they lock these areas up for their training and stuff, it's a big area. And it's usually really wild country as well, you know?
Yeah, because like further down the road, there's a place where you're not allowed to go into, and there's like I've snuck in there a few times. It's now closed, and there's just all bush everywhere and beautiful water holes and so because I lived there for about 5 years and I only seen it the once. So
did you ever recall hearing any unusual noises?
I couldn't say I recall hearing unusual noises. There was always a lot of crickets, and sometimes it was quite quiet. So
suddenly the crickets would stop.
Yeah. So, and that was like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't recall hearing a lot of different unusual noises.
Where you were situated, were you in the town or you were out on land in the country sort of thing?
Out on land.
Okay. Did you ever have any unusual predation on any of your animals or wallabies or anything in the area?
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Not my yard was fully fenced, and it was actually an crayfish farm.
Okay.
So it had 5 dams. There was the creek running to the side and to the front as well. But I didn't really see anything around except for platypus around that area. But then again, I didn't really go looking.
Sure.
I only had 5 acres.
Yep.
And it was all well maintained 5 acres.
Yep. There are a lot of unusual animal sightings up in that border ranges area. There's a lot of thylacine sightings. There's yowies. There's all sorts of unusual things.
Yes, and it's so funny because I hear, like I've sort of, I work out at Wongawallan now, which is towards Tambourine Mountain.
Yes.
I do a bit of work out there, and I hear some strange things every now and again when I go outside, and I'm thinking, oh, there's the tapping of the wood that I hear about. I haven't seen anything out there. So.
And you don't want to either.
No, exactly. So,
fair enough.
You know, yeah, so...
Yeah, yowies are known to tap trees with branches apparently, and they build these structures and stuff, but I try not to go down the yowie rabbit hole too much because there's only so much time I have in this life.
No, that's right. But no, I've never seen anything like that. But I really didn't sort of take much notice of like too many noises or anything. So
sure.
But
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for your information. It's only a little sighting, but it's an important sighting because it...
It was only a little sighting, but I just found it amazing how the doctor had actually seen it.
Yeah, well,
as
that gives you a little
well.
bit of validation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did. Everyone else is saying, "Oh, how much did you drink?" And I'm thinking, well, I don't really drink a lot anyway. But
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing people say. So
Yeah, and unfortunately, not so much the media, but some of the academics are a little bit arrogant in that regard, and they just say, "Oh, these people that see these things are drunk on their way home from the pub,"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I was definitely coming home from work.
Yeah.
And you can't really get Ubers or anything at that time of night out there.
Not out there either. That's a pretty remote area.
Yeah, exactly. And being a nurse, I thought, no, never drink drive. And
so you're still up in the same sort of country, pretty much. You've just changed address, yeah.
I'm actually at Paradise Point now, so
okay.
I'm on a normal house block, which was quite a shock to the system. So
fair enough.
Saves me a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for your time and your info. I'll get this out soon on YouTube for people to have a listen to.
Okay then, sounds wonderful.
Yeah, and if you do hear of anything else, you've got my number now, so you can always get back in touch.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.